الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وعلى من تبع هداهم إلى يوم الدين. من المؤمنين رجال صدقوا ما عاهدوا الله عليه. From the believers, there are men who are truthful to their covenant. Our sets of episodes talks about the companions, may Allah please with them. Those are the shining stars around the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the ones they love him is the believer, and the one who hates them is the munafiq, hypocrite. And we love them, but we don't love them to the extreme that we put them above what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had placed them. And we all the time mention them in the good way. Their way and their path is the path of salvation. We have no doubt about that. And we have been discussing, alhamdulillah, those companions and trying to get as many stories which are authentic around them in order to follow their steps and increase our love for these people. And also to take out any stories which have been mentioned regarding them, which is fake stories or unauthentic, that might bring some sort of enmity between you and the companion. And alhamdulillah, we have talked about a considerable number of companions. And tonight, inshallah, we will be talking about Ja'far ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu wa ardah. Ja'far, he is the son of Abu Talib, and Abu Talib happens to be the uncle of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ja'far's kunya is Abu Abdullah. That means he's got a son, it's called Abdullah. Another son is called Muhammad as well. He's the one who's been given the title, which is we're going to be talking about, that is the one with the two wings. He's the cousin of the Messenger of Allah. He's given the title of Abu al-Masakin. Al-Masakin means the one who looks after the one who are indigent and poor. And he is the brother of Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu wa ardah. And he was one of the predecessors to Islam. As for his manners and how he looks like, he used to be the most looking like of the Prophet of Allah. So he used to look like the Prophet of Allah in terms of his complexion and in terms of his manners. The Messenger of Allah, he said, أشبهت خلقي وخلقي. You are looking like so much myself in terms of complexion and in terms of as well manners. And if this is the case, then we say that Ja'far ibn Abi Talib is upon a high character, because the Prophet of Allah says about him, وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. Verily you are upon high character. If it is the case, then Ja'far ibn Abi Talib is the same thing. He is from the first predecessors to Islam. Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, he tells us that I made a hijrah with my family and with my tribe, and we were 53 men. We came and we went on top of the ship, and the ship, instead of taking us to the Prophet ﷺ in Mecca, the ship waved, and the waves took us all the way to Abyssinia, to Al-Habasha. And we stayed in Al-Habasha, and we stayed with Ja'far ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu, and we did not come back from Habasha until the conquest of Khaybar. So already the Prophet of Allah made the migration, and already the Prophet of Allah, he had made the battle of Badr and the battle of Uhud. So we were not joining the Prophet of Allah in his migration from Mecca to Medina. So the people at the Medina used to say to us that we have preceded you with the hijrah. That means you missed the hijrah, that is the migration from Mecca to Medina, because they were in Abyssinia, in Al-Habasha. One day, Asma bint Umays radiallahu anha, she enters onto Hafsa, the daughter of Umar, and happens to be the wife of the Prophet of Allah. Umar radiallahu anhu, he comes in and he asks his daughter Hafsa, who is this? She says to him, it is Asma bint Umays. So he said, oh, Al-Habashiyya, the one she was in Abyssinia? Yes, the ones who was Al-Bahriyya, the one she was taken by the sea and she's still there? So they said yes. So he said to Asma, verily, we have more right to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We have more priority to the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because we have preceded you with the hijrah. So she was upset so much, and she said, nay, by Allah, you have no priority and closeness to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We were in a land which is a land of foreigners, and a land which is too far. And you were with the Prophet of Allah, and he used to give you the food, and he used to give you admonishing because of your ignorance. by Allah, I will not eat anything in this house or anywhere. I will not even drink until I tell the Prophet of Allah ﷺ what you have told me. I'm going to ask him, and I'm not going to increase any word when he gives me the answer. So she asked the Prophet ﷺ regarding the words of Umar, that they have more priority of the Prophet of Allah because they have migrated with him from Mecca to Medina, where they missed this migration. So the Prophet of Allah, he said, no, he's wrong. For verily you have two migrations. The migration which is from Mecca to Abyssinia, and the migration from Abyssinia to the Medina. So you have more rights of me. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is telling him that you are more rights of me, and including those people who went to Habasha is Ja'far ibn Abi Talib, as we're going to be discussing his story, how when he migrated to Abyssinia and what happened between him and Najashi, the king of Abyssinia. He's a person who used to be called Abu al-Masakin. Abu al-Masakin means the one who is close, and he loves those who are poor. Here, Abu Hurairah, one of the poor people, he used to say that sometimes I go and ask a companion regarding a verse to make him to read it for me. Actually, not for the sake of that he would read it for me, but because he could see that how hungry I am, so he could take me with him to his house and then would feed me. So I used to come to the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and stick myself to him in order to learn, and that is why he memorized a lot of hadith. So he said, I did not like the other companions were trying to get as much as food as possible. I just had my food, a little food, and then I was with the Prophet of Allah. And I did not even put the dress, which is expensive, because I was really poor. And I used to put the stone into my stomach and tie it up because of my hunger. Not only that, I used to as well sometimes to tear off the tin which has got some of the ghee in it, and I will take it because they left by the people. I was to eat whatever is left and remaining there. So Abu Hurairah, he says, he's describing Ja'far ibn Abi Talib, he said he was the best for the poor. So he used to give us more than anybody else, radiallahu anhu. So that is why he was called Abu al-Masakin. In terms of his shahada and his martyrdom, you see, the Prophet of Allah, he sent him and Zayd ibn Haritha and Abdullah ibn Rawaha, the three companions, with an army which is numbering 3,000 to the place called Mu'tah. Mu'tah is in Jordan, in Bilad al-Sham, not far away from where I live myself, in order to fight the Romans who had prepared an army to defeat the Muslims. So he said, the Prophet ﷺ, your leader will be Abdullah ibn Rawaha. Your leader will be Zayd ibn Haritha. If he's been to be killed, then the leader will be Ja'far ibn Abi Talib. If he's to be killed, then Abdullah ibn Rawaha. So the army headed towards the place which was called Mu'tah. And Abu Hurairah was amongst those people who were in the army, and it's the first battle that he participated in. So now what happened in that battle is it's a long story. I'm going to narrate it as well. Is that first of all, the Romans in their army, they are in full gear. When they come to the battle, they put all this metal arms and this hat and everything. So they're really in full gear. With the Muslims, they're in normal clothes, they've got the turban. They're not really prepared like those people. So as soon as Abu Hurairah saw this big number, 200,000 they were. Where themselves only 3,000. So the ratio is 70 to 1. So each person has to fight 70. So Abu Hurairah, as soon as he saw this big number, he was scared. Thabit ibn Arqam, radiallahu anhu. So he told Abu Hurairah, it looks like you are seeing a big number. He said, yes. He said, you were not with us in the battle of Badr. For verily we are people, we don't gain the victory through the numbers. We gain the victory through the what? The spirit. But even though, if he was in the Battle of Badr, the ratio is 1 to 3, because in the Battle of Badr, they were 300 facing 900 or 1,000. But this one is much, much more. He's talking about 70 to 1. The ratio is 3,000 facing 200,000. So Abu Hurairah was scared. Well, as soon as Thabit ibn Arqam told him these words, he calmed down. Now, Zayd ibn Haritha, as I said, the leader. So now the Prophet ﷺ, while the battle is taking place, he's been given live link-up, revelation from Allah Azza wa Jal, what is happening on the battle. So he asked for the prayer to be summoned. And that means everybody to come and to listen. And the Prophet of Allah addressed the companions, talking about what happened in the battle. So he said, verily, Abdullah ibn Rawaha took the standard, this is the flag. And Zayd ibn Haritha, the first one. Zayd ibn Haritha took the standard. And he fought until he was martyred. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. So, Prophet of Allah is talking.
Assalamu alaikum.
Then the standard was taken by Ja'far ibn Abi Talib. And he fought. Now, the other hadith talks about how he was killed. That when he took the standard, he fought until his horse somehow was not able to continue. So he stepped down and dismounted from the horse, and then aqara, and he killed as well the horse for the sake of that the enemy will not use it. And he started fighting on his feet while he's having the standard in his hand. Somehow somebody had cut off his right hand. So he held the standard with his left hand. He fought and fought until his left hand was cut off. Then he took what is remaining of his hands, the standard, and he pushed it towards his stomach like this. So he's holding the standard like that, with what is left from his hands. And then he was killed. Now when he was killed, the standard was taken by Abdullah ibn Rawaha. That's the third companion, because the Prophet of Allah appointed these three. Abdullah ibn Rawaha, he as well fought, and even he's been given some meat by his cousin to eat. And he just looked at the meat, he said, Wallahi, it's a long life until I finish this meat. So he took it off, and he wanted to get himself strong, and then he charged against the enemies, and he was killed. Now, the companion is trying to confer who is going to take the flag, who's going to take the standard. Now, Khalid ibn Walid, it was the first battle for him to participate in. He just embraced Islam. But because of his experience in the war, they said that he's the one who's fit. So Khalid ibn Walid took the standard and accepted it. Now Khalid ibn Walid, what he did something which is out of his experience. So the Prophet of Allah is saying, and Abdullah ibn Rawaha took the standard and he was killed. And the companions could see the Prophet of Allah, his eyes are well up, they are in tears, he's shedding tears. He's overflowed with tears. You could see the tears coming from the Prophet of Allah's eyes. Then Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, Khalid ibn Walid, he took it and he is sayfun min suyufillah. He's a sword from the swords of Allah Azza wa Jal. Khalid ibn Walid, what he did, because he could see that the army is too many. So he said, what should we do? Should we wait for support from Medina to come? More numbers? It's going to be a long time. So what he did, he had changed the whole strategy and the tactics of the army. In the night, he put the right on the left and the left on the right. And he divided the middle. He put the ones in the front to the back and the back to the front. And in the following day, he said to them to pull back slowly. Now in the morning, the armies who are facing, they always see the ones who you've been fighting with. So they see new faces. They thought that the support came from the Medina to the Muslims. They were scared. And they are as well going back bit by bit while they're fighting. Those Romans, they were scared that this is an ambush for them. That is why they did not continue to follow them. And they left. Now, so it is a retreat, but it's a retreat with no surrender. It's a retreat with a victory. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, and Khalid ibn Walid, the sword of Allah, had taken the standard and Allah gave him the victory. So the victory was, even though it was not like a decisive victory, but the Romans had the opportunity to kill the Muslims, 200,000 to 3,000. That's, an easy sort of victory for them, but they did not gain the victory. They were scared. Now, the companions, radiallahu anhum, that is, Zayd ibn Haritha, and Ja'far ibn Abi Talib, and then Abdullah ibn Rawaha, the three leaders, were martyrs. And when the Prophet ﷺ said, Stushhid martyr, that means he's guaranteed what? Paradise. Ja'far ibn Abi Talib, radiallahu anhu, Abdullah ibn Umar, he said, we looked into his body. So we found more than 90 stabs with a spear and a sword. All of them from the front, nothing from the back. Meaning that he was what? Fighting. He was never running away. 90 or more stabs and wounds from the swords from the front. Subhanallah. It shows us how courageous this person is. And also, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, I saw in my vision that Ja'far ibn Abi Talib had been replaced, his arms had been replaced by two wings. So he is flying in paradise. So he's called the two-winged man. That is Abdullah ibn Umar, he said, verily whenever I see Abdullah, the son of Ja'far, I would say, Salamu alaykum, the son of the two-winged man. Yabna dil janahayn. Salamu alaykum, the son of the two-winged man. The one who's got two wings. Subhanallah. So he was a courageous person. Radiallahu anhu wa ardah. A person who had, as well, when he was killed, the Prophet of Allah, he looked after his children. So when he was killed and martyred, the Prophet ﷺ, he told his family, that is, only 3 days for weeping. Only 3 days. That is, and then who told the companions to make food for them for 3 days, for verily they have something had preoccupied them, which is the death of Ja'far ibn Abi Talib. Then the mother of the kids, she came to the Prophet of Allah, she said they became orphans and so on and so forth. So the Prophet of Allah, he said to her, are you fearing poverty on my nephews here, the son of my cousin? For verily I am their protector in this dunya and in the hereafter. أنا وليهم في الدنيا وفي الآخرة. So he looked after the children of Ja'far ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu wa ardah. Now we come into his stance, al-mawaqif. Number one, which is his story with the Najashi when he migrated to Abyssinia. The Prophet ﷺ, when he started to call the people to Islam in Mecca, there was lots of torture and persecution. So the Prophet ﷺ told the companions, that is, to go and migrate to Abyssinia, because there is a king there. That king is to be just. So go and seek shelter there and go and practice your religion there. So Uthman ibn Affan, so many companions, they traveled in the ship all the way to Abyssinia and across the sea, and they went to Abyssinia under the leadership of this Najashi. Now, the people of Quraysh didn't like this, because this is, hang on a second, they are taking shelter. They are, now at the moment, they are posing a danger to the people of Quraysh. So they don't want them now to have a safe haven in Abyssinia. So they planned to bring them back. So they sent Abdullah ibn Abi Rabi'ah and also Amr ibn al-As. Those people were kuffar at that time, which you could say now, may Allah be pleased with them, but before they were kuffar. Abdullah ibn Abi Rabi'ah and Amr ibn al-As, both together. And they commanded them, that is, to go and fetch them. And they planned for them what they should do. That is, they gave them some gifts, and those gifts, most of it is from the skins, animal skins, that is from the camels and so on, so from Mecca. And to give each person who is close from this king a gift, because it's like a bribe, if you understand. So you give him a bribe in order, when you talk to the king, those who are close to the king will support you and will say yes with you. So give any person who is close to the king from his ranked armies, the ones who are highly ranked in his army, to give him a gift. So they have done so. And then they went to they told them that verily we are about to speak to your king, and we're going to tell them that there are some kids, people who are not really sensible people. They have fled from our place in Mecca, and they came to seek shelter in your country. So when we talk to your king, we're going to ask for them to be returned back. Support us, give us your intercession. So they agreed. So when they came to the Najashi, to the king, they gave as well some gifts, an extra gift to the Najashi. So he accepted those gifts, and they started talking to him. They said, Your Majesty, for verily, there are some people who are not sensible, they are like criminals. They have left the religion of their forefathers, and they have as well not entered into your religion. So they have chosen a different religion. They did not choose your religion, which is Christianity. He's a Christian. And they have left the religion of their forefathers. And they came with an innovated religion, which we don't know it. No, you don't know it as well. No, yourself, you know it. And the noble people in our place, in our country, have sent us in order to talk to you, in order to bring them back, for verily we know how to deal with these people. Now, And Najashi, he didn't like what he had heard from Abdullah ibn Abi Rabi'a and Amr ibn al-As. But the ones who are from the army around him, they supported, because already they've taken the bribe. They supported what they had said. So they said to the king, I think it's better to hand these people to those people to take them back. So Najashi, he was so enraged. He said, by Allah, no way. How can I hand in people who had chose me to seek shelter, and had chose my land to live in, and they chose me against other people? So for verily, I will not hand them in until I ask them. For verily, that is, if they were good, they will be staying in my country. If they're not, I'll send them back. So he had sent for the sake of those companions to be summoned before him. Now when the messenger of the king came to the companions, they started talking to each other, what should we do? What should we say? For verily, they chosen Ja'far ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu to speak on behalf of the companions. And then when they were brought and summoned before the king, he had those priests around him, and all of them, they put their Bibles in front, their scrolls of the Bible. So he said, and he asked them, what is this religion that you have come up with, that you have left the religion of your tribe, and you did not enter into my religion or the religion of any of these nations? So Ja'far ibn Abi Talib now is speaking to him. He said, Your Majesty the King, for verily we were people who are ignorant, worshipping idols, eating dead animals. I mean, it's not slaughtered. They've been slaughtered only for the idols and the statue. We used to make all types of evil. We used to fornicate. We used to sever our kinship. We used to be bad to our neighbors. The strong amongst us will devour the wealth of the weak. So we were upon this until Allah, the Almighty, sent us a messenger from ourselves, whom we know his lineage, and we know his truthfulness, and we know his trustworthiness, and we know his chastity. So he called us to Allah in order to worship him alone, and to leave and shun worshipping what us and our parents used to worship from the stones and the statues. And he commanded us to be truthful when we speak. He commanded us to fulfill our trust. He commanded us to join and maintain our kinship. He commanded us to be good to our neighbors. He commanded us to be not to violate the inviolables of any person, to shed the blood of other people. He commanded us not to approach the fawahish. He commanded us not to say the lies. He commanded us not to devour the wealth of the orphan. He commanded us not to speak ill or slander the chaste women. He commanded us to worship Allah alone and associate nothing in his worship. He commanded us to do the prayer and pay the charity and fast. And then he had, number of the pillars of Islam. So we believed him. And we said that he said the truth, and we followed him. So we worshipped Allah alone, associating nothing in his worship, and we have made haram and unlawful what he had made unlawful upon us, and we made lawful what he made lawful for us. So our people started to have enmity with us. So they tortured us, and they wanted us to leave this religion, to go back to the religion of worshipping the idols, and to make lawful what we used to do from the khaba'ith and all of those evil acts. So when they have actually oppressed us and made it difficult for us, our Prophet told us, that is, to come to your land and seek your shelter, for verily he had told us that you are a king who is king of justice, and nobody will have injustice with you. So An-Najashi, he said to him, do you have anything that Allah had given to you, that has revealed to your Prophet? Ja'far, he said, yes. An-Najashi, he said, go ahead and read. So Ja'far ibn Abi Talib, he recited the beginning of Surah Maryam. Kaf ha ya ayn sad. So he cried. By Allah, he cried, An-Najashi, until his beard was drenched from his tears. And not only that, the priests around him, they were crying as well, until they had as well wetted their scrolls. And An-Najashi, he said, by Allah, what is being revealed to Musa and is being revealed to your Prophet, it comes from one source. Go ahead and travel in my land. Wallahi, I will not hand you into them whatsoever. Salama, she said, that is when Amr ibn al-As, he got out, he said to his friend Abdullah ibn Abi Rabi'a, Wallahi, I'm gonna tell the king something and he will uproot them. He will kick them out. Abdullah ibn Abi Rabi'ah, he said, how can you do such a thing? They are still our relatives. So he said, verily I'm going to tell him that those people, they claim that Isa, the son of Maryam, is to be a slave. So on the following day, he said, O king, verily they saying something regarding Isa, the son of Maryam, a very terrible thing. So again, the king, he sent after them. So he said, he wanted to ask them, what do you say regarding Isa? So the companions now, they are conferring with each other. What should we answer? So they said, we will say what Allah's messenger told us to say, regardless who he is. So when they have entered on the king, again Ja'far ibn Abi Talib is the one who speaks on behalf of the companions. So he asked them, what do you say regarding Isa, the son of Mary? So Ja'far, he said, we say to you what our Prophet ﷺ told us to say. He is the slave of Allah, and he's his messenger, and he's his spirit. And that means there's a spirit, from his ruh, from his spirit, and he is the word of his given to Maryam, who is the Adra, the virgin, al-Batul, the righteous and the chaste. So Al-Najashi, he hit the land, he took from that land a piece of wood, the thickness of it really thin. He said, Wallahi, Isa ibn Maryam, the son of Maryam, he did not exceed, or he does not differ from what you say, except with the thickness of this piece of wood. And that is when this priest, they started making a clamor, a sound, and he's not really pleased with that. He said, even if you do whatever you like, you priest, for very this is the truth. Then he said to the companions of the Prophet of Allah, the king, he said to them, go in my land, for verily, you're going to have safe haven. He who insults you, he will be fine. And who does lay a finger upon you, he will be punished. Wallahi, I would never accept any type of money regarding yourself to be handed in. I did not accept anything from Allah subhanahu. Allah did not accept any bribe regarding me becoming a follower of his. I'm going to accept a bribe in him? No way. So Salama, she said, verily, these two, Abdullah ibn Abi Rabi'ah and Amr ibn al-As, they left in disgrace because they could not finish, or their mission was unsuccessful. So here we find, and this is a long story, we have learned from which that Al-Najashi, who is a Christian leader, but he died as a Muslim, later he embraces Islam. Actually, in the story you could see that he's embraced Islam already. Rahimahullah. And it also shows us that the Christians are close to the Muslims. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, وَلَتَجِدَنَّ أَقْرَبَهُمْ مَوَدَّةً لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا الَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّا نَصَارَى. The ones who are close to the believers, the ones who say that we are Christians. Why? Because they have qissisin, waruhban, priests and vicars. That is, they are, whenever they hear the words of Allah Azza wa Jal, they will be in tears. So they are close to us. But those are the ones who are the original Christians. Now these Christians these days are far away from the religion at the moment. But still, they are closer to us than any other sects. So we tell the Christians, now this is your history. And this is history is full of what? Good things. We have, mashallah, even I remember one of the priests, he was defending the Muslims because they're adopting the Sharia, if you remember. I know that for a fact. But we say to them, look, like how is this king dealing with the Muslim when he was a Christian? He's saying that any person who insults the Muslim, he will be what? Fined. Well, these days, the one who insults the Muslims, he will be rewarded. That's a problem. The Muslim who insults the Muslim and call them terrorists, he's the one who is going to be having the microphone. So we tell them that this is your history, and those are your lineage, ancestors, so be like them. And also we tell ourselves and our brothers, that you live in such a country, you have to be as well thankful. Because Salama, radiallahu anha, she said, and she used to keep saying, we are living. We used to live in the best of lands with the best of neighbors, so they were looked after. So they were looked after. Because of that, we have to be as well to thank the people in order to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, in terms of his courage, we have said, alhamdulillah, and talked about the story. So we come now to, you could say, his, let's talk about his supplications. So we find, for example, Ja'far ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu, he narrated for us number of a hadith from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What's the time of your Isha?
10 o'clock.
Okay. Because it's 10 o'clock, I will leave those ahadith because, alhamdulillah, Ja'far ibn Abi Talib, this is the story.